Okay, what do you want your story to be about tonight?
My story is going to be about an orange that just, I mean, orange,
Orange?
an orange that got eaten by a dog, and it was too big that that his heart exploded.
The dog's heart?
Yes,
Because the orange was big?
yes.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, no, I got you covered. Don't worry. I, an orange that was so big that when a dog ate it, the heart of the dog exploded. So, this is a story about Fluffy. Fluffy was the happiest dog alive. He would always greet everybody with wagging tail and wanted scratches from everybody. Fluffy was known all across the neighborhood of a small town long, long time ago for being a little bit too nosy, too. Like sometimes a neighbor would find Fluffy inside of the bathroom, and it's like, Fluffy, what are you doing here? Get out. You don't even live here. And Fluffy would be like, but what Fluffy would love the most ever was food. If you were cooking something, Fluffy would be right outside your window, barking at you for something to eat. If you were carrying a hot dog, oh no, no, no. Fluffy would walk right next to you and look at you with sad puppy eyes, like, please feed me. And of course, people did share some of the food with Fluffy uh, because, I mean, it's a dog and it's friendly, and that's what people do when they like a dog. Sometimes they give him something. But Fluffy had never, ever, ever tried something called an orange. It is a very, very rare treat that comes from the lands of the South of America, a kingdom so, so far away that very few people alive in that town had ever seen it. And it was also very expensive to have that. Of course, I'm talking this is a long, long time ago. Nowadays, oranges are ubiquitous and you can find them at every store in winter and in summer. But you have to understand that it was not always that way. And so, this one time, the wife of a merchant came home and his husband had been gone for a couple of months on a business trip. And when he came, you know how sometimes people bring presents when they come from far, far away? Well, this man brought the most amazing present for his wife. He brought her an orange for her to try. She was elated. She couldn't believe her eyes. This was the strangest thing she'd ever seen. She'd heard about the amazing flavors of the faraway land, but she'd never imagined she would get to actually try one of those. It was a very rare treat that was only afforded to this merchant because he had been really a good sailor and a good workmanship too. And so he was allowed to take home one expensive orange out of the whole inventory that had been imported into this lands. And so a big event happened in the family between the husband and the wife, who didn't have children at that time, and they were getting ready to try the very special orange that night. And so, with beer and some potatoes, they had dinner. And as dawn got closer, now mind you, there was no electricity back in those days. So when it was dark, it was almost time to go to sleep. Um, the husband told the wife, I think it is time for you to eat your orange. Well, this was no ordinary orange. This was a huge orange because um, this sailor's boss told him, you can pick any orange you want. And he picked the biggest one of all the ship. And she was very excited about trying this orange and decided to step outside to enjoy this while looking at the stars, which would be so romantic. But as soon as she took that orange from out of her pocket, Fluffy was right there with his beady eyes, crying for a little piece of food like he had never eaten in his whole life. He looked so cute and so sad. He even gave her the paw. And when he did give her the paw, guess what happened? The orange dropped from this woman's hand accidentally, and Fluffy thought that this was the food that he was begging for. Took the orange in mid-flight, wagging his tail as a thank you. He took off running, and the wife was like, "Oh no, what have I done? My husband is not going to be happy about this. This was a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and now Fluffy the dog got it." Well, Fluffy took off. He took his precious treasure to a tree not too far away from there where nobody would ever know that he was busy eating. And then, boom, he took a bite, and the juicy flavors of the orange, something nobody in his town had ever tried, filled his mouth. And then he was so happy that his heart stopped because he was like in the best moment of bliss of his whole life. In between heartbeats, he saw the universe. He saw the stars since he saw the earth. And he understood that he was a dog. And he understood where that orange had come from. And he understood the sadness in the woman's eyes. And then, as his consciousness sunk back inside of the reality of being a dog, he would forget all of this. He would never understand the magnitude of what he was eating. And his heart started beating again. And his tail started wagging again. And he was the happiest dog ever in all of history of that town. And he devoured that orange. Didn't leave anything behind. And for like 5 days, he was burping with orange smell, which actually smelled quite good, which was very unusual. And all of the town was talking about how Fluffy ate the most expensive meal of his life and didn't even know it. And that's the story of how a huge orange made a dog's heart stop.
I didn't say stop.
I mean,
Explode.
explode. Yeah, well, it exploded into going outside of his body, and that's when he realized that he was a dog and all that. So it didn't stop. I'm sorry, it exploded. The end.
Yay, best dog ever.
Good night, Pequeñín.